But yeah, now to the final fight, the one everybody was waiting for. We would hope we'd finally see an end to the trilogy. But it looks like it might happen again.
Well,
looks like they might have a four.
Before you even get into it, Julian, because we all saw Poirier McGregor 2, and we even had an episode on it. You know, the podcast was already set up. We were talking about that. We were waiting how long for this? You know, a decent amount. You know,
yeah,
McGregor and Poirier to get back in the ring together. But carry on,
man. I don't know how to rate. I don't know how to look at this fight. Dustin was winning that fight clearly, but then it almost really makes me wonder if something, because clearly to me McGregor cracked it or did something before it actually broke. Whether it might have been in training, whether it was during the fight, something might have happened. Because he hasn't fought a whole lot recently, and maybe his bones just aren't he hasn't toughened up. I don't know, but I kind of heard O'Malley kind of talk about it I saw him do an interview with Pat McAfee, and they kind of think maybe with all the boxing training and everything that it's kind of affected the strength of how his body can hold up against kicks or something like that. But something definitely happened. It looks like it probably clearly affected the way McGregor approached the fight, whatever happened. Because the fact that McGregor went, shout out to Teddy Atlas, guillotine. By the way, ESPN have the worst fucking analysts doing MMA. It is why the fuck is Stephen A. and Max Kellerman and Teddy Atlas fucking talking about UFC?
And I see their takes, man. Honestly,
they're shit takes. All respect to Teddy Atlas.
To get on the hype wagon with what's the most popular thing going on, and I hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
They get into these ridiculous ideas, and
I love how Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier kind of put them in their place in a sense. You hear them they say something, and then one of them will automatically be no, and it's hilarious. All respect to Teddy Atlas though. It's a boxing
they made the
genius, but
that he's the new Ronda Rousey of the MMA world. That's it. Man. He reached his peak. He's lost back to back. Technically, in my opinion, I'll get my take on it. He didn't lose that fight. You know what I mean? That was a freak accident.
He was losing.
See that? I mean, you know what I mean? For whatever the reason was, from what I saw in the fight, it looks like he wasn't really planning his feet right when he was swinging. His feet, I guess, I don't know, in terms of his training, like you said, he's probably more focused on the boxing aspect. But I personally don't think his career is over. And I think this just makes a greater story for a comeback. Back-to-back freak accident. If and when he gets better, if he has that next fight set up and he gets the win, man. Sometimes, man, the hardest thing is staying on top while you're on top, right? That's the realest challenge. He worked his way to the top. Back to riches. You know what I mean? He blew up the sport. Yeah, he might have gotten distracted. There's all these reasons. You can say anything about his little downfall. It is a little downfall he has right now. You know what I mean? He's at the low end of his current career because he was so high up. But I think this is going to make a beautiful story for a comeback. And for McGregor.
And another thing too is people are going to trash McGregor, but let's be real though. He's losing to one of the strongest to people in it's the strongest division in one of the strongest divisions in all of UFC, and he's not losing to some slouch. I mean, he's losing to Dustin Poirier, which is probably going to be the next champ, which it looks like. And if we go back to the second fight, I think he was winning that fight until he got caught, and then this fight. And this fight, it's hard. Like I said, this fight's a hard one to judge because who's to say what happened when he got injured and stuff. Dustin was on his way to win that fight if it didn't break or what. But who's to say maybe if there wasn't some sort of fracture there affected the way, because it clearly, to me, it clearly did. Because some of the things halfway through that round that McGregor was doing just didn't seem like normal McGregor. And like I said, man, going for that guillotine. Shout out to Teddy Atlas. I don't I don't know, man. I don't think Poirier is getting a title fight. You can't make him fight McGregor again. I think the only way I think they're going to fight each other again eventually. I think for sure. But I think you got to give Conor. Don't give him a Cowboy Cerrone because don't give him another guy like that. Give him another kind of guy he's challenging for the title, and let him work his way back up. Don't make him put him up against some scrub, but like give him some decent competition. And then yeah, you know what I mean. I think if depending on who he fights next, once he heals and he comes up healthy, I think he's determined though. Like that's one thing. I think he's very determined, and I think a determined Conor can be scary. Like I said, I think whoever he faces the next fight and he loses, then he might be out the door, honestly. Yeah. But I think he has one more good fight in him, and then if he wins, like he could go on a run. But like,
a question to you guys. So Khabib had a interview recently. I think it was yesterday, or it was on like social media yesterday. I was kind of looking at it, listening, and he basically, I guess, trash talking McGregor. Obviously, you know they're not the best of friends. You know what I mean? They're pretty much rivals, and he beat McGregor. But he was saying that, you know, in the last fight with Poirier, McGregor was he changed his role a little bit. He tried to play the good guy, right? He toned down a lot. He tried to look like a humble man, got into the fight, whatever, took his loss. And then all of a sudden in this fight, he switched right back to like the old McGregor, put showboating, you know, doing all that.
About his wife.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? And he was basically saying, like, yeah, you know, he's putting too much energy focusing on his opponent instead of worrying about his training and everything for himself. And he's just distracted himself from that fight. And he said, if McGregor were to fight Poirier 100 times, Poirier would win 100 times. What do you think about that, Julian? Or Gabe?
Wait, who'd you say would win 100 times?
He's like
he said that if McGregor were to fight Poirier 100 times, Poirier would win 100 times.
No, I don't think that's true at all. I mean, he was literally beating him in the last fight. Like I said, it's hard. These last two fights are weird because to me, obviously the second fight was clearly definitive, but the thing is, like, they've been it's not like he looks terrible though. Like, it's not like you're looking at like old Anderson Silva and he's like, dude, you need to leave. Like, McGregor's like was winning rounds. Like he looks good at times. And I think maybe just a refocusing, and like I said, it's hard to judge this last fight because a freak accident did happen. As much as you can say what it is, a freak accident did happen. Even before, who's to say what a fracture or anything happened. To me, he still has a future, whether it be getting a title shot. He's definitely going to do a Nate Diaz fight again. That's definitely for sure going to happen again. I think that's not going to happen for a while. I think he really wants to push up for that lightweight title. But to me, he's still a top 5 guy in the division. Like, look who he's losing to, though. Like, he's losing to, like I said, some of the best. I know Gabe's disagreeing with me right now, but like, there's nobody up in the upper teens or in the upper singles that are going to beat him right now.
Yeah, then Poirier worked his way up, man. Like, after that first fight with McGregor, like, he got knocked out first round. Didn't that happen? And then, you know, he battled it out, right? He had a lot of good fights against,
and he stayed focused.
You know what I mean? Like, he worked his way through that whole division to get to where he's at now. And like you said, I think he deserves a title fight.
Yeah, I think he's getting a title fight. I think maybe down the road a fourth one will happen, to kind of like a Conor McGregor Poirier 3 2.0 type of thing.
What do you think, Dave? I see a lot of head shaking over there.
Listen, man, I have a lot of thoughts on this. All right. With the fight, like I said, because we were in the chats earlier, and I said, you know, regardless of the fight, I had Dustin Poirier winning that fight without the injury, because just no points. The closest that McGregor got was maybe, you know, that hold that he had him on the floor. Maybe a couple times there was like, oh, shit, he might reverse this. He might, you know, get him in a triangle or some shit. But obviously, Poirier slipped out, and then he had that terrible injury. The fight, man, was just kind of disappointing. Like, I wanted to see him get knocked. He lost, which I thought he was going to lose. But he just didn't lose the way that I thought it would be. You know what I mean?
I didn't think Poirier was knocking him out. I didn't think he was knocking him out, I will say.
So, and, you know, Jojo,
Poirier was definitely on his way to winning.
I mean, it is a freak injury, but still, like, you're medically unable to fight. Like, even, you know, after the fight, this guy's on the floor talking shit, talking about your wife's on my knee. I'm like, bro, you're on the floor. And you had all this pre-game. This is what I hate about the fights. Here's the thing. I hate the spectacle. And right now, it feels like McGregor is more of a spectacle than a fighter. Because what's the thing? He won one. He's won one fight since like what 2017, 2018.
It's a show, man.
It's 2016.
That's
2016. 2016. He's won one.
That's how
fight.
you're gonna get views, right?
And he is the face of UFC. Like if you're talking about the best seller in the UFC right now.
That one, like the saying that he's only won one fight since 2016, that's a pretty misleading stat because he faced Khabib, probably one of the best lightweights ever. Okay. He beat Cerrone, who's on his way out the door. Then he beats elite Poirier twice. He's not like he's losing to like scrubs, dude. I mean, he lost to Khabib, probably the best wrestler ever in the UFC, and then he loses to Dustin Poirier, which is probably on his way to become the champ and is one of the best fighters in the UFC.
Okay, so
it's not like he's losing to scrubs.
It gets to this point where it's like you're a spectacle, you talk all this shit, which by the way, it's mad disrespectful. That's why Khabib. I saw a tweet after the fight. That said, karma comes for you or some shit. Yeah, karma comes for you.
He was probably embarrassed. You know, he's there with a broken ankle, and
bro, how many people been? As soon as the fight happened, because obviously they interview the winner. I'm like, yo, are they actually going to interview fucking Conor McGregor? And it's like, I guess we're doing this. And this motherfucker went on the goddamn floor, laying on his ass, talking mad shit. I'm like, yo, why are you still talking? Like, you can't even stand up. Like, we know you're not going to fight anybody. You're talking these fighting words, but you're sitting down. You can't even walk, motherfucker.
But you know what? Anyway. What Khabib and Dustin, I mean, like, they're talking shit, but you know damn well they would not be making nearly the money they would be making if they weren't fighting McGregor. Money talks, bro.
The next fight. He's already promoting the next fight.
McGregor's money, bro. It's money.
He said Poirier was going to leave on a stretcher. He left on a stretcher.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, that's it, man. And you know he's the face of the fucking UFC. You know about the best.
But they're talking shit. But you know damn well, deep down in Poirier's head, he wouldn't mind fighting McGregor again.
I think it's going to happen because it has to happen. He's their best. He's their highest profile fighter right now. He's the one that sells the most. He's the most exciting. Besides
That's what
Bones
the fight
Jones
game is, man.
You know, besides like who's there? The lady fighter. I can't think of the name.
That's on you.
Yeah. But you know, he's their premier fighter. He's the highest profile fighter. And it's like, how many times can you lose and still be like the number one guy? Like you're still like, oh, we're gonna hold him up and he's gonna be the face of UFC. Like you keep fucking losing. Like, you know, I understand this is a freak accident or whatever.
They're not the one. But the thing is, UFC's not pushing McGregor. McGregor's pushing McGregor. McGregor's the bit like, look, McGregor and Mayweather are probably one of the greatest promoters in fight history. Those two figured it out. They figured it out. And at the end of the day, I think McGregor deep down would want to be a champion again. But they won at life, man. I mean, and that's just like, and I think like as much as Khabib and Dustin want to talk shit, you know damn well like they really like the idea of fighting them because it made them a shit ton of money. And the UFC likes it because of that. And the reason why we want to watch McGregor fight is because we want to see McGregor fight. Like, you can be the most, I mean, look, we just saw it with the fucking Paul brothers and shit. Like, we don't care about, like, we just want to see the spectacle. It's kind of turning into, like, WWE in a way.
Yeah, like, it makes me hate fighters. Like, it's fine if you talk shit, but if you can back it up. Like, it's like now it's like you keep losing. Like, there's obviously going to be.
It was kind of funny. Like that was the irony of it, right?
No,
it's
but
like,
you're also.
Mama just literally smacked him in the face while his shit talking. He caught up. You know what I mean? Everything he was saying, and that's kind of what Khabib was saying. It was like he's making it about everything else but the fight. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah.
But I will say, Gabe's making out to be like he got Tyron Woodley. Like, come on. Gabe, you're making out to be way worse. Like, you're making out to be like what happened to Tyron Woodley happened to him, where he got knocked out 4 or 5 times in a row.
And I don't want to speak for Gabe. I think Gabe's just upset that you're talking all this trash, whether you're not, out of your prime, but you're not winning to back it up, right? Is that kind of what you're going for?
Like, no, I get that.
He's not walking the walk. You know what I mean? He's not doing
I get that. I get it.
That's why I could see that, but it's for the views.
I get it. Like, and I completely understand that. But like I said, my thing is, it's like we could have, like, there in an alternate universe, there's a pretty good chance that McGregor would have won that last fight. And then this one was a freak accident. And like you said, he's only fought 4 times in like 5 years. Like,
okay, how many more years do we give him? How many more breaks does he deserve?
One more.
He's gonna get another fight.
I mean, outside of the boxing thing,
I say the next one. And honestly,
dude, he's gonna want to fight as long as he wants to. At this point, it doesn't even matter. Like as long as he wants to fight, he's gonna fight, and they're gonna let him fight. And that's just how it is. They're definitely gonna do a Nate Diaz fight again. Like I think Conor's even openly said he wants to do that again. But I think he really wants to push for the title first.
Chance, he'd fight Khabib again if Khabib were to ever miraculously come out of retirement.
McGregor wants to. How old is McGregor? What, 33? McGregor's like what, 33? He's got years left, dude. He's gonna, as long as he wants to fight, he's gonna fight. It's just how it is. Like, and I think now we're starting to get, look, these 2 fights happened in 1 year. He hasn't done that in fucking ages. Like, when was the last time he did that? It's been so long. Or what wasn't that last Poirier? That last Poirier fight was this year, right? Or was it end of last year?
Yeah, it was in January. Wasn't it January? Somewhere early this year?
It wasn't too long ago. But like, he's getting on a rhythm. And like I said, his losses came from Khabib and Poirier. It's not like he's Tyron Woodley where he's getting knocked out by like 5 dudes in a row, and each one is progressively a lower seed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Poirier is going to get a title shot, and he's going to beat. Oh my God, what's his name? Who's a champ? Why is my mind drawing a blank?
I looked it up the other day.
Because I think Dana's going to say to his word. Because Dana said whoever wins this fight's getting the title shot. And that was Conor's shot. If he would have won that fight, that would have been his title shot. And I think if Conor beats a high profile name and say Poirier wins the title fight and Poirier gets the belt. Oliveira. Yep.
Oliveira.
I think if Conor wins a high profile match, his next one, whenever it might be, and Poirier is champ, I think he gets a title shot.